Hello again, back immediately with my, what is it? I'm going to say my holiday TBR slash October, November, December TBR. I was going to do monthly TBRs for this month, but here I am, Friday the 13th in October, and I had not even uploaded my wrap up for, or recorded my wrap up for August and September, so that wasn't happening. But instead of coming to you with a monthly TBR, I decided that I'm going to come to you with 5 books that I'm going to choose from to read. Right now, I am currently reading Amari. It's not Amari and the Night Brothers. It's the part 2. Okay, Amari and the Great Game, because it's the second book. Yes. I have a signed copy of this book from Barnes & Noble, and I had already started on the book back in April or May. No, it's May, because it was close to the end of the school year, and I ended up accidentally packing my hard copy of the book away into my storage unit that, you know, all teachers who live in apartment complexes buy a storage unit unless you live alone. I don't live alone. So, I ended up accidentally packing it away, and I did not want to get a audiobook because I was 50% through the book already. But I have not completely unpacked my classroom books because I didn't have shelving for my new classroom. The shelving came in, and I still have not put the shelving up yet because we have not had another teacher workday for me to be able to do that. But we will have one coming up in 2 weeks. So, or is it this coming week? I think it's actually this coming week. Anyway, we have a teacher workday coming up soon, so I'll be able to get it out of one of those boxes then. So until then though, I went ahead and I caved and I got the audiobook for this, and I'm not gonna lie, kind of like the audiobook. So that's what's happening. I'm listening to this via audiobook. So it's my oldest son. He's taking out our fur baby. All right, another book that I was supposed to read back in April. I think it was April or May. And I picked it up, I started reading, then I put it down after 6 pages in. And I think because I set it in the wrong pile of books, I did not get back to it then. But then I was going through my books to figure out what book do I want to read for October, or what do I want to be a part of my October TBR. And then I saw this one in that pile, and I was like, don't mind if I do. So it is the Writing Retreat. I went on a writer's retreat, and this was the book that I was going to read while I was there. But because the road to get to the cabin where we were writing our books, where we decided to, you know, camp away for the weekend and write our books, was very windy. So I got sick on the way there. The house was on a very uneven, or cabin was on a very uneven hill. So I was actually sick a lot while I was there. I wasn't like vomiting sick, but my head, because I have vertigo, it felt off the whole time. Like I could throw up at any moment, but because I threw up in the car on the way there, my stomach was actually a little bit more settled, but it wasn't settled enough for me to do writing and reading. So I did not pick this up at all there. But when I got home 2 weeks later, I started to read, and then like I said, put it in the wrong pile. So now it's back, and it obviously has to do with a writing retreat. That's all I knew going into this book. That's all I want to know. And I'm going to start all over again from scratch, and I'm going to read this book. Okay, another one that has gone around TikTok and Instagram and YouTube quite a bit a few months or maybe even more ago. Well, at least I've seen it a few months ago or longer ago. But this book actually came out in 2022 in September. So I'm already a year afterwards, which is great for me because even though it's been going around, it's like a rehype of this book because it was already hyped up a year ago. But I don't want too many opinions about some books when I go into them. And this was one because I was getting a lot of mixed reviews and I was like, ooh, I'm not going to watch any more reviews of these because I actually wanted to read the book. And that is Killers of a Certain Age. The main reason why I wanted to read this book, to be perfectly honest, at least the initial reason, was because of this lovely cover. There's not too much going on there. It looks very slasher-like to me, very retro, and very simple at the same time. And that's all it wrote for me. But a lot of the horror YouTubers that I follow have read this. I think all but like 3 of the ones that I follow have read this book. So I was like, I can give this a chance. But all of their reviews were very mixed. So then I wanted to die down, and then somehow Book Talk found my For You page, and it's been back on my For You page. And then if you know, TikTok and Instagram seem to be in sync lately. So whatever you watch on one, it pops up on the other. So that happened. Another book that has popped up a lot on my, hey, Drake. Our dog doesn't want to leave. Our fur baby doesn't want to leave out. Good night. Another book that has popped up a lot on my TikTok, my Book Talk. Actually, this one popped up quite a bit more on my husband's TikTok, and that's because he looks for books to buy me. And then it started to slowly, but for sure, pop up on mine. And these are book talkers that recommend books that are more gory than normal, more like, should I really be reading that than normal sort of books. And I like to read those sort of books. I do. So this one is called Pen Pal. I was even recommended by the lady at Barnes & Noble who helped me find a way to spend my $15 gift card and get 2 books and a free tote, which I believe I talked about in another video. Which after even watching that video, I realized I didn't need to do a part 2 to that video. And I said I needed to, but I didn't. And so I didn't. Anyway, this was one of those books. They said that it is one that you need to be like, oof. And just be prepared when you read it. So it says, in an attempt to make sense of his own mysterious and unsettling childhood memories, a man begins to reconstruct his past. As the games and adventures of his youth become engulfed by a larger story, he finds that it forms a tapestry of unbelievable horror that he never could have expected. Each chapter completes a different piece of the puzzle for both you and for the narrator. And by the end of it all, you will wish that you could forget whatever he never knew. Yeah, one of those sort of things. Like, do I want to know that? Ooh, that kind of reminds me of, like, sometimes when you, so I teach 6th grade, so sometimes when you're, like, listening to your students talk to each other, you're like, oh my goodness, the things I wish I could unhear. That's what that kind of reminds me of. The things I wish I could unknow. Because that's the way it just sounds like it's written. All right, now one book that is currently going around right now, and this one I'm here for because it reminds me somehow, some way of People Under the Stairs, or Flowers in the Attic, kind of like a mixture of the two based on just the title alone. I did read the excerpt, but I definitely read the excerpt because of the title alone. It is called The Stranger Upstairs. This was mentioned in my September Book of the Month haul. But it says, a gruesome history, a hostile neighborhood, A new owner with a shocking secret. Welcome to Blackwood House. So, yeah. Let's see. On the inside, it says, the therapist and self-help writer with all the answers. Sarah has just bought a gorgeous Victorian in the community of her dreams. Turns out you can get a killer deal on a house where someone was murdered. Plus, renovating Blackwood House makes for great blog content and a potent distraction for her failing marriage. Good thing nobody knows that Sarah's past is as tainted as the bloodstain on her bedroom floor. But the renovations are fast becoming a nightmare. Sarah imagined custom avocado wallpaper, massive profits, and an appreciative husband who would want to share her bed again. Instead, the neighbors hate her guts and her husband still sleeps on the couch. And though the builders attempt to cover up Blackwood's horrifying past, a series of bizarre accidents, threatening notes, and unexplained footsteps in the attic only confirm for Sarah what the rest of the town already knows. Something is very wrong in that house. With every passing moment, Sarah's life spirals further out of control, and with it, her sense of reality. But as she peels back the curling wallpaper and discovers the house secrets, she realizes that the deadly legacy of Blackwood House has only just begun. That wasn't the excerpt that I read the first time. I think I read a different one that was just the first part of what I just read. But anyway, now that I read all of that, it kind of reminds me of Amityville Horror. Like a retelling. So, I'm here for all of that. Alright, last but not least, we have a Riley Sager book that I did pick up and got 22 pages in. And I do remember every single part of it, and let me tell you, I'm here for it. So I'll be picking up this book before I pick up The Writing Retreat. So The Writing Retreat will be number 2 after I'm done with Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I actually don't remember I started this book at the beginning of October, but I don't remember why I put it down. It could just be because life as a 6th grade teacher and a mom is just hard, and a full-time college student because I'm going back to school to be certified in gifted education. So I think it was because of that. I'm gonna be perfectly honest, because when things start to pick up, I want short stories and smaller reads, which is why I had so many comic books, and anything thicker is pretty much been on audiobook. But I have now settled into a little groove here as of lately, to where I've been reading for at least an hour at night before I go to bed. And no, I'm not that old, but it does help calm the mind when you are not watching TV before you go to bed. It actually has a lot to do scientifically with neurology, with your mind, with your brain, with all of that stuff. I know the word, I can hear the word in my head being said the right way. I just can't actually say it the right way. Neurological, I think I just said it. But yeah, your body's a lot calmer. You can actually go to sleep faster when you don't watch TV at least an hour before bedtime. And I've been practicing that because I have to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go teach a bunch of kids that are not mine. Okay. But anyway, this is a really good book. Really good. Very cringe. Very why. Like every time I'm like, why? What are you thinking? I talk to this book as if I am talking to a scary movie that I'm watching. Like, just why are you that type of person? Why are you the way you are, is what I be saying half the time. Why are you the way you are? That's how much stuff happens in the first 23 pages of this book. Why are you the way you are? Just why? That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm gonna say. Because all you need to know is that there's the lead character, the main character, roommate is dead. You find that out very soon. And you actually find that out even like reading this little excerpt part. You find that out, right? And then there's a killer on the campus and people going out and about by themselves and getting in cars with strangers. That's it. That's it. Why? Why are you the way you are? And I can't answer it because I'm not finished. But right now, I think the main character's dumb. Ain't nobody taught her well. So, that's all I got. So, these are the 5 books that I am choosing from to read in no particular order. Hopefully, they will all be read before the end of the year. And of course, if I get done with these, I will also pick up more books. But I say if, because everyone knows holiday seasons can be chaotic and crazy. For me, it's chaotic and crazy because when you're lesson planning through the holidays, you need to make sure that you combine a lot of things so that way you are hitting all standards, but you're not doing all of the paperwork that would usually come along if you had an entire week. Our weeks are broken up into 3-day weeks, some 4-day weeks, but mostly 3-day weeks. So we have a lot of curriculum to cover with a lot of 3-day weeks, and then you have Thanksgiving. Well, we still have fall break coming up at the end of October, and then you have Thanksgiving break coming up, and then you have Christmas break coming up, and then in between those 3 breaks you also have teacher work day, professional development, all of those things, right? So you want to make sure you're lesson planning, spending some time, and some of that is extra time that we don't get paid for. Yeah, I said it. To come up with those lesson plans. And then I'm also in college, so I'm reading for college as well. So, like I said, I am hopeful that I will get through them, that these books will hook me in a way to where instead of me coming home to get on TV, I'm coming home and wanting to be like, I need to pick up my book and keep reading. That is what I'm hoping. So, that is my holiday TBR. Okay, bye.